And you're able to see the screen. Yes. All right. So day one, we started with basics of what web designing is. Yes, we learned about HTML and CSS, and about how to code all this with Visual Studio, with live servers and all that. And yesterday you discussed about servers. Yes, sir told you about hosting websites in GitHub. Yes, did you all try it? Yes, great. And then about login pages, about the brute force attack, and how you do it with payloads. And have you all completed your assignment too? Uploaded it in the form? Great, okay. So now that we have a basic idea of what HTML is and what CSS is. Yes, you know what those tags are and how to use the CSS properties. It is a vast concept. You have many tags, you have many CSS attributes. So as I told you in day one, you have to keep practicing. You have to start using those. Only then you will understand. I can keep on saying all those tags and attributes and all those stuffs. I can show you all demo here, but still you have to practice it on your own so that you will understand what each tags are. Today, what we will start with is we'll start with JavaScript. Okay. So I'll tell you where JavaScript is used, how it is used, why are we using it with web pages, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of using a JavaScript in a web page. And then I'll also show you the live server part. Like we on day one saw how to purchase servers and domain names in GoDaddy and BigRock, right? So I'll show you once you purchase a server, how the server looks like, the original server, how it looks like and all that. I'll show you that. So to start with, let's start with JavaScript. So on day one, I told you JavaScript is a language. You can call it as a browser's language. Yes. And why do you use JavaScript? You use JavaScript for interactiveness. Interactiveness is if you have to interact with your web elements. What are web elements? Each and every tag in a website is in your HTML is called an element, right? A paragraph is an element, image tag is an element, button tag is an element. So if you want to interact with those elements, then how can you do that? You can do it with JavaScript. And I also told you another term called validation. Yes. What is validation? Validation is when any user types any input in your website, you need to validate whether the user is entering a proper data or not, a proper format of data or not. Yes, so that is where JavaScript comes into picture. Now, how do you use JavaScript? So basically, JavaScript is kind of a programming language. Normally, when you learn any programming language like C or Java or Python, you have these basic concepts like variables. Yes, you have something called data types. You have something called conditional statements. You have loop statements. You have functions. All these are some basic terminologies which you learn in every programming language, right? So when you know one particular language, programming language, at least the basic part, you will know what these concepts are, variables and data types and all that. I'll tell you just small hint of what these topics are so that we don't have to get into it very in detail. So variables, what are variables? Now, if you wanted to store any data, take it any application, you're going to have values which is coming in through user. So there are going to be values through input and output, right? So to store the data, you need something, right? So whatever data you're getting from user or whatever data you're going to show it to the user, by default you have to store it somewhere, right? So that is where variables come into picture. So variables are something which will hold the value throughout the program, throughout the entire execution. It's going to hold the value. So that is where variables come into picture. And what are data types? Data types are the type of value that you store in a variable. So what type of value are you trying to store? Is it a number or is it a string or is it any Boolean value? So the type of value that you're going to store in a variable is called data type, right? Then you have conditional statements. What are conditional statements? Conditional statements help you execute a particular code based on condition. Okay? So to execute a part of code based on condition, you have something called conditional statement. So only if the condition is true, the code will get executed. Now, say for example, your voting system. So you can vote only if you're above 18 or above, right? If you're below 18, you can't vote. So based on condition, whether we are permitting the user to do this or not, that is conditional statement. And then loop statements. Loop statements is where you wanted to execute a part of code repeatedly for specific number of times. So how many times you mention, those many times the code will keep executing again and again and again. That is loops. And what are functions? Functions are small code blocks, which you create mainly for code reusability. So when there comes a time when you have to write a part of code again and again and again in various places, what you can do is you can use functions. So you put that code inside a function, and whenever you want, you just call the function. That's it. You don't have to repeat the code writing thing. So that is code reusability. Now, these are the fundamental topics that gets covered in any programming language that you learn. Okay. All that you have to focus is the syntax. Now, in C, you have a specific syntax. In Java, you have a specific syntax. In JavaScript also, you have all these topics with a specific syntax. All right. Now, just to refresh of how these concepts look in JavaScript, we'll just get into a small example here. So to practice this, the basics of JavaScript, what I'll do is I'll open the console that we have in Chrome. Where is Chrome? It's here. Control Shift and J. Okay. People online, it is good if you can stop your video. Don't keep your video on. It's interrupting the class. Yes. All right. So go to browser and just click on Control Shift and J. It is going to open the console part. Okay. This is where you can practice JavaScript to debug or to test any JavaScript code. You can use this console. So how did I get this console? Just press Control Shift and J in keyboard. Okay. So here, this is the console where I will be typing the JavaScript code. Now, the first topic which we discussed is variable, right? Now, how do you create a variable in JavaScript? You can use this keyword called var. Okay. So var is a keyword which allows you to create a variable. So after var, I'll type a equal to 50. So now I have a variable called a, and I've given a value to that variable, which is 50. Now, if I want to know that, I'll just type a and hit enter. It is going to show me 50, which means 50 is stored. All right, this is how you give a value directly to a variable. Now, if you want to ask the user to give value to your variable, right? Now, instead of giving 50 directly here, if you want the user to enter the value, how can I do that? I'll type var a equal to, and instead of giving the value, I can type this function called prompt. So inside prompt, what I'll do is I'll type enter a value. Var a equal to prompt enter a value. Now when I hit on enter, see here, I am getting a small dialog box here. A small dialog box here, right? Now here I'll enter a value called 30. Okay, and I'll click on OK. So now what happens? The value that I entered 30 gets stored in A. Now when I go type and see A, I get the value 30. This is how you get value from the user during runtime using JavaScript. So you can use the function called prompt. All right. Now, there is this function called alert. Participants, I request you to please keep your video off. Yes, it is interrupting the class. So there is this function called alert. Yes. Alert function. So inside alert, I'll just give hello, welcome, double quotations, and hit Yes. So now what this alert function will do, this alert function will display an alert pop-up. See here, whatever text you give inside that alert function gets displayed here. Alert, welcome. Okay, alert, hello, welcome. There is this this code here. Now I'll just clear this console. Right click, clear console. Okay, now see here. So here I've created a variable called name. Okay, and then I've given a prompt function. Right, and then I'm also asking another variable. I'm creating another variable and I'm asking the user for that. And then I have the alert function. So all these are written in one line. Okay, all these are one line code. Now when I hit on enter, see here, it is first asking me to enter the name value, right? This is the first prompt. So what I'll do is I'll just go type Saumita. I'll click on OK, and then it is giving me the second prompt. So second prompt, I'll type my last name, Senthil Raj, and I'll give OK. Now see here, in the alert box, it is showing me my name and the last name together. Right, so it is a one-line code where you're getting the value twice, and then you're displaying it using the alert function. Okay, and this console is also like a calculator. You type 1 plus 1, hit enter, it is going to give you the value 2. Okay, let's close this alert box. Clear console, 1 plus 1, 2. So you can use this as a calculator thing also, just like how your Python console works, if you know Python. Okay, so this is with variables. All right, so variables here in JavaScript, you don't have to specifically mention the data types and all. You can create a variable and you can store any format of data you want. So it is automatically going to consider the data type. Either it is a integer data type or a string data type. But when you give a string data type, make sure you're giving it inside quotations. Okay, for numbers, you don't have to give quotations. Now, how do you perform conditional statements here? Now, let's declare an age value where age equal to 18. Okay, now we have a variable called age with a value 18. Now I'll write a simple if condition. If age is greater than 18, if age value is greater than 18, let's type an alert function. So inside this alert function, I'll type eligible to vote. Or I'll write an else. I'll type alert not eligible. Okay, so we have a variable called age, which is 18, and I've written a simple condition where if the age value is greater than 18, I should get this in the alert. If not, I should get this in the alert. When I hit enter, see the output that I get is not eligible. Why? Because the criteria didn't meet here, right? Age greater than 18 is false. So I get this else part, which gets displayed. So this is conditional statement, a simple syntax with if and else. Okay. Why I am saying all this now? Because for your to-do, which you're going to do today, your assignment, you will have to use this if conditions and all that in your assignment today with HTML. Yes, so only if you know this flow, you will be able to write the code properly. All right, so this is with conditional statements. And then you have, what else we have? We have loop statements. Yes, now for loop statements, let me declare a variable here. Time is equal to 1, where time is equal to 0. Let's create 0. And then I'll write a loop. So here, what I've written is I'm comparing this condition. So unless and until this condition is true, whatever is written inside this loop will keep executing. Okay. Console.log is a function which will execute inside the console itself. So it is going to give you the output inside the console. Okay, so far we learned about prompt function and then alert function, and another one is the console.log. log. So console.log will give you the output here in the same console. Okay, so now this loop got executed like how many times? 10 times. From 0, it got executed until 9. Why not 10? Because it is less than, not less than and equal to. Very good. Okay. Right. So this is with loops. And here in loops, you also have the for loop. So for loop, again, it is same concept. For variable I equal to 0, I less than 10, and then you have I plus plus. Yes, and here you can again type console.log. Inside you can just type I. That's it. Same. So again, it is going to print from 0 to 10. Same format of for loop. So while and for loops, 2 loops we have. And then we have functions, right? So how do you create a function using the keyword called function? Here in JavaScript, to create a function, you will use the same keyword function. So function, let's type a function name. I'll type go. Go is our function name. Now inside this function, I'll just type alert. How are you? Yes, so this is a function which is created. Now, when will a function get executed? Only when you call it, right? So let's call the function go. So when I call, see here, I'm getting the alert message. How are you? Okay. Now in function, this type of function which I've created, what type is this? What type of function is this? Huh? It is a function without parameter, right? You don't have any parameter inside. Now, if you wanted to create a function with parameter, what you can do, I'll just copy this. I'll paste it here. And inside this, I'll type a parameter called name. Now, when you call this function, how are you and name. Okay. Okay, so it is syntax error. Let's clear the console. Paste it here. So it is plus after, not plus. How are you plus name and hit enter. So now if I have to call this function, I have to type go and then I have to pass a value here. So only if I pass a value here, this function will be called. Now when I hit enter here, it is showing how are you along with the value which we have passed. Okay. So this is function with parameter and function without parameter. So these are the general concepts which, comes under JavaScript. Now, let's get into how JavaScript is used inside HTML. Okay, why does it come into picture and how JavaScript is used inside HTML? So basically, when there is a web page, okay, so you have a web page and in your web page, you have all these images, you have all the texts, and then you have a button. Let's say you have a submit button, okay, and you have other images, you have Google forms attached to all this. Okay, now what are all these? All these are elements, right? All these are called elements in a web page. Now when you go click this button, something has to happen, right? Yes. Now when you click this button, what is this called? It is called an event. Yes. So clicking a button is called event. So when you do something in your web page, some action has to happen. So how can you achieve that? You can achieve that using JavaScript. So when someone clicks the button, if you wanted to, display any message, then you can use JavaScript. Now there is a form where user is asked to enter their first name and last name. So now when the user goes and enters the name here, so validating whether the value entered by user is correct or not. For that you can use JavaScript. So whether he is typing alphabets or whether he is typing numbers, for that you can use JavaScript. Okay. So how do you use JavaScript? You can use it in 2 or 3 ways. First thing is you can use it directly inside your HTML file. So directly inside your HTML file, you can use the script tag /script tag and you can write the JavaScript code. This is one option. Another option is for certain tags. for certain elements, HTML elements, you can write the JavaScript inside the element itself. Let's say you're creating, a a button. So here, what you can do is you can use this function called onClick, and you can write the code here also, right? And another option is you can write JavaScript in a separate file, just like CSS. Just like CSS, you can create a JavaScript file separately and you can put all the codes inside the JavaScript. Okay, so we'll see all these three options. We'll see how to do that using our Visual Studio Code. So here, all right, now see the sample code which I have here. All right, so this sample code output is here. Okay, now this is a paragraph. Okay, I'll explain you the output first. This is a paragraph tag. Okay, and I have 3 buttons. Now, when I go click this first button, it is showing me a dialog box. Thank you. It's saying thank you. When I go click on the second button, it is again showing me a dialog box, and the message here is thanks, man. Okay. When I go click on the third button, it is changing the entire color. Okay, it is changing the entire color of the web page. This concept is called DOM. D-O-M. What is DOM? D stands for document, O stands for object, and M stands for model. So here D represents your entire HTML document. D represents your entire HTML document. O represents each and every element inside your HTML document. All the elements that you use, paragraph, button, every element is object. And the model represents a tree-like structure. That is the structure of your HTML document. That is the model. That is, you have the HTML tags. Inside the HTML tags, you have the head tags. Inside the head tag, you have the body tag. Inside body tag, you have several other tags. So that structure is the model. And O object is the elements. And the D document is your entire HTML document. So JavaScript deals with this document object model, right? So it directly affects your HTML document. Okay, this is DOM, right? Now, what we have done here is inside body, if you see, I have a paragraph created. I have 3 buttons created. Okay, now forget about this ID part and on-click part and all that. Okay, so first thing, paragraph. Now, if you look inside this paragraph, I have no code here. Here. So inside this paragraph, if you see, I have no code here. Yes, it is empty. Okay, I have no code here, but I have hello there here. So how I have written this? I've written this using JavaScript. Okay, how? Now here for this paragraph tag, I have given something called ID, a reference value. Okay, and for this reference value, you can give any value you want. I've just given ABC. Okay, now what I've written is for this reference value, I have written a JavaScript code inside my head tag. So inside head tag, just forget about all this. Okay, so inside head tag, I have the script tag, and the first script which I've written is for the ID. So what I've written is, there is this code called document.getElementById. This is one of the inbuilt functions of JavaScript. So you use this particular line to get the HTML element. So our HTML element has an ID value, that is ABC. So you're getting it using document.getElementById ABC. And what do I want to know? I want to give a text to that paragraph. So what I've used here is the inner HTML attribute. So inner HTML by default assigns the text to your tag, to your HTML tag. So now, in order to link this paragraph tag with your JavaScript, you have to use this document.getElementById function, default function, which is already there inside your JavaScript. Okay, and you have to give your ID value and then inner HTML and whatever text you wanted. So instead of hello there, let's write something else. Welcome to my page. and I'll click on save. See, welcome to my page. Okay, now how is it appearing in red color? For that also I've given a JavaScript here. Document.getElement by ID ABC. Instead of inner HTML, I've given style.color equal to red. So this way, JavaScript is actually changing the element structure. Okay, it is changing the structure of the HTML element, right? It is changing the content, it is changing the color. You can manipulate the element however you want using JavaScript. This is one way of writing JavaScript inside your script tag, inside the head element. All right. Now another option is, see, I've created a button. This button. Let's take this button first. Okay, button on click. So when I create a button, I've given a function called on click. I mean, an attribute called on click. And inside this on click, I have given the JavaScript function. So alert is a JavaScript function, right? So I've given that directly inside the HTML tag. So you can also give the JavaScript directly inside the tag. So this alert thanksman, when someone clicks this button, clicks to see, it is going to show me thanksman. Okay, if you want to write it inside head tag, see for that button ID equal to toggle. So I've given an ID value for button. So for that, see document.getElement by ID toggle, and the event listener, which is what we are doing, is click. We're clicking the button, and what should happen when someone clicks the button? It has to display alert, thank you. So when I go click on the toggle button, click me, it's going to show thank you. This you can write it inside the head tag, or you can write it directly inside your button element. And the third one is for changing the color. So again, when you click on the button, the entire web page color is changing. Yes, the entire web page color is changing. No, so for that, I've given an ID value color button, and for that, I've written the script code here, document.getElement by ID color button, and then the function that you have to write is document.body.style.background color. So we are trying to change the background color of the body, okay, into light blue. Yes, I'll give you this code for practice, don't worry. So this is one simple way of using JavaScript inside your web page. Now, if I take this entire script code, I open a JavaScript file separately. CSS has extension .css. JavaScript has extension .js. Okay, so you can create a new JS file here, and you can copy or paste the entire script here. Where is the script? Script is here, no? So I'll just copy the script and I can paste it here. And then, I can, instead of writing script, the entire script here, just like how we use that link tag to link your CSS, no? Same way you can write script src equal to your JS file tt.js. You can just link it here. So now it is going to get linked with the external JavaScript. Yes, you understood this? Yes. Now what you are going to do is, again, you are going to use one HTML file. You're going to create one HTML file. Okay. So here for this assignment, you're going to use HTML and CSS. I don't want you to create a plain HTML document. Your output should be something like this. So you're going to create one page. This is your assignment 3 for today. Okay. So one page, you're going to create a registration form. Make sure you're creating a registration form along with CSS attributes. Okay, along with your HTML and CSS attributes. Your form should have CSS attributes like the look and the color and all that. Okay, so in this registration form, you should have fields. You can create at least a minimum of 7 fields. Okay, something like first name, last name, email, contact, address, city, and then the submit button or register button. So you'll create a form something like this with nice background color, or you can keep a background image. For each and every field, apply CSS. Okay, how these fields should look like, change the font, change the color, do every CSS action that you can. Make it appealing. Make your form appealing. Just don't submit a simple form, make it appealing. And once done, next step, what you have to do is for this entire form, you're going to write JavaScript. Entire form, you're going to write JavaScript. So what JavaScript are you going to use? You're going to write, you're going to validate this form. So now in this form, when I go enter any number instead of name, it should show me an error. Just an alert box maybe. Okay. So you can set an alert box stating that you can enter only alphabets. Okay. Now in email field, if I'm not entering an email without @ symbol and without dot symbol, again generate an alert box asking the user to use the @ symbol and the dot symbol and all that. Okay. And for address again, for contact again, for if the user is not entering numbers and entering alphabets, again, keep an alert box. Yes. So for this, you have to use both conditional statements. This is the hint which I'm giving you to write code. You have to use the conditional statements and you can use the alert function to achieve this. Okay. And once you click on the button, once all the fields are entered and once you click on this register button, display a message. What message have I given here? To display a message, registration complete. Okay. A simple message, registration complete. That's it. This is your day 3 assignment with JavaScript. All right. So you will use conditional statements, alert functions, whatever you wanted to use, you can. Yes. But make sure you're validating each and every field. Now, the output of this, how are you going to submit it to me? Yesterday, you saw how to host your web page in GitHub, right? Yes. So you're going to host this page in GitHub. Once you host your page in GitHub, you're going to get a link. Yes, right? Link to open your web page and see. So you're going to submit the links to. This is your output so that I can open your GitHub page and then I can see your form. I can see whether you have done your validation properly or not. All right, do something. In your Google form, you will have option to upload your link and an option to upload your screenshot. Upload both. Okay, upload both and we'll also go to the link and we'll see how you've performed validation. I don't want your code. I'll just see the output. All right, this is how you're going to submit your assignment 3 for today. This is your assignment 3. Today's assignment. Okay. And for online students, let me share the attendance sheet. Okay, I've shared the attendance sheet. Please fill in your attendance. Okay, you understood this assignment? Yes, all right. Now, first day class, we discussed about purchasing domain names and servers, right? Now, let's take this scenario. Now, there is this hosting provider called Big Rock, right? I'll tell you how this happens. So, after you go to Big Rock, you have to purchase a domain name for your website first. Yes. After purchasing the website, domain name, you have to purchase the server. I showed you the Linux hosting thing, yes, which is common for all normal websites, whichever you wanted to host. Once you purchase this domain name and the server from this hosting provider, what they'll do is they're going to send you an email. They'll send you a confirmation email, and in that confirmation email, they're going to send a URL and then username and then password. They're going to send you 3 details. All right. This URL will allow you to log into your server, which you've purchased. And they'll give you a default username and password, which you can use to log in. All right. Now, assume you've purchased a domain name, you have a server, you've received the email, you have URL and all that. Let's see how it looks like. Now, once I open the URL, this is the login page. Okay. cPanel. cPanel means control panel. Okay. So this is one of our test servers which we have. So once I click open that URL, it is going to ask me for the username and password. When I give the username and password, it will log into the server part. Okay. Now what this hosting provider will do, whatever domain name you've purchased, they'll link everything. They'll activate all the name servers, the DNS part, everything will be activated and the server will be given ready to you. So what you have to do, you have all your files designed in your system. Correct. So you have to upload all those files to the server and your web page will be live. Okay. Now how to do that? Once you get into cPanel, no matter from who you purchase, you can purchase it from BigRock, you can purchase it from GoDaddy, you purchase it from any hosting provider. They're going to give you this kind of a cPanel. Maybe the look of the cPanel will be different, but the features are going to be same. Now once you are inside the cPanel, you have this option called files. Yes. So inside files, you have this option called File Manager, Open File Manager. So when you open File Manager, in the left hand side is what is called the directories. Okay. Now here in this directories, there is something called public_HTML. Yes. This is your root directory, public_HTML. This is the root directory where you have to upload your web files. So when I open public_HTML, this is where you upload all your files. So basically your index.html has to be inside this file. Why? When any user in the internet goes to any browser, okay, and types your domain name. Now let's assume our domain name is abc.com. When he searches for domain name, no, this will be searched inside the public_HTML folder. So inside the public_HTML folder, you should have index.html. So only when you have this first page readily available inside public_HTML, the user will be able to see your web page. Other files you can have it in, you can create folders, you can have it as how you want. Okay, but index.html has to be readily available inside this public_HTML. Now here if you see, I have index_HTML, but apart from that, I have other folders also. Inside other folders, I have again another website which is hosted also. Yes, but by default, keep your index.html directly inside public_HTML. All right, this is web hosting. So once you purchase a server from hosting provider, this is how the server looks like and this is how you upload. So how do you upload? Here you have this option called upload, right? Just go click on upload. It will ask you to select file from your system. So from your system, you can open the files which you have, index, images, and style.css. All this you can upload it directly. So once you upload, all the files will start appearing here. So in minimum 2 minutes, your website will be up. It will be live where people can see your website. Okay. So this is live hosting. This is how a paid server looks like. Now, apart from this, what you have seen is GitHub. Yes. Now, if you wanted to experience the same thing, like, like a file manager kind of thing, free of cost. If you want to do that, there is a website called 000 Web Host. 000 Web Host. It is not free forever. They'll give you free time. I think maximum of 15 days or something. So 000 Web Host is one website where you can go sign up for free. And once you sign up for free, they are going to give you a customized domain name. You can't go ask for your own domain name. They'll give you one domain. You have to use that domain. Something like now, let's say your name is Archana. Your domain name will be archana.000webhostapp.com. This is how your domain name will look like. So customized domain name. If you want, again, your domain name, then you have to buy, you have to pay. All right. Now, inside 000 Web Host, you again have the cPanel concept. So you have a cPanel and a cPanel will look something similar to this. You will have all these files, you have databases, you have domains, all this you have. So again, you can go to file manager, you can go to public_HTML and you can upload your file. And if you can, if you want someone to see your web page, you can send them this link, archana.000webhostapp.com, and they'll be able to see your website. So GitHub is one option, and another option is 000 web host. Yes, this is again free of cost, which you can use. Okay, and here other things which we have in this cPanel is, first thing is email accounts. What are email accounts? Now, generally, if you want to create emails for your employees who are working under the company called ABC, you can go create email accounts here. So their email IDs will look something like Saumita at abc.com, Keetna at abc.com. Yes, so like that you can create email accounts. Files are where you have to upload your files. Database again. So we'll also see this concept in our next class, how to create a database inside a server, how the value from front end goes to back end, and from back end how it comes to front end. We'll see an example for that also. So for that, here you have to go to database and create tables, and you have to send values to that. That is database. And where you configure your domain, you configure it here. And metrics is where you can see how many people are visiting your website. Yes, all the logs will be stored here, and the security and other stuffs. Yes, so every server that you purchase will have these features by default. Okay, so this is with the live server part and the free server thing which I told you, 000 web host. All right, now we have another 10 minutes. I'll just give you an intro of what UI and UX is, and let's see if time permits. I'll tell you everything about it so that you can try it out, or we'll continue it again tomorrow. Okay. Now, you should have come across this term called UI and UX everywhere, right? UI is user interface. UX is user experience. Yes, UI and UX. Now, what do you think is the basic job skill set of a UI and UX designer or developer? Their ultimate motto is just to design the web page, right? UI will decide how your web page should look like. Okay, typically what size the logo should be, what font you should use, how images should look like, what type of images you're going to use in a website. All this will be decided under UI, user interface. And then comes this user experience, UX. What is UX? UX is where people sit and check whether the application that you create is easy for a user to use or not, whether the user is feeling easy to use the website or not, whether the user has a good experience when he comes to your website. Yes, when he comes, when you open a website, the website has to be appealing. No, it should have good pictures, it should have good content. Only then you will love to see the website more. If not, you will just close and go. So this is a major part when it comes to website development. So website development, UI and UX has so much things to do. So before getting into the development part, this is the first thing that people do, developers do. So initially they start designing the web page, how it should look like. They'll finalize each and every image, each and every font, each and every color will be finalized. And only after all the finalized stuffs, people will start developing. So the UI people, what they will do is they will give the design to the developer, and the developer will keep this defined as a protocol, and he'll start developing the web page. For developing, again, the HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, and all those frameworks which we have, they'll start using it. Okay. Now, for you to just start with the designing part. Okay, there are n number of tools which you can use for designing. One such UI tool which we have is called Figma. Okay, it is free to use. For you, it is free to use. Yes, we have paid options also, but in free option, you have multiple features to explore. All right. So how do you use this? You just have to go to the website Figma and create an account. It will allow you to use this tool live in the website itself. If you want, you can download a desktop app and you can use, but you can directly use it in the web page. All right. So once you create a free account, this is the first page where you will land in. Okay. You just have to go to website Figma and create a free account. And once you create a free account, this is the page where you will land in. And once you land into this page, just go to this first option here and go to File and click on New Design File. Okay. file and new design file. So when you click on new design file, this is an empty page that you get. Okay. Now here, you're not going to write any code. You're not going to write any HTML or any CSS code. No. All that you're going to do is you will have multiple toolboxes here. You're just going to take all the tools. You're going to use those tools and design a web page. That's it. How do you design? I think in first class, I told you about wireframe, right? Yes, I told you about wireframe. What is wireframe? Sitemap and wireframe. Wireframe is the design type, the design prototype which you're going to design now. Okay, how do you do that? Now here at the top, if you see, you have all these tools. You have frame, section, slice, and then you have rectangle, line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, and then you have text and all that, pen, pencil, everything. Now what I'll do is I'll first click on section and I'll create a section here. Okay, now I have a section. Assume this is going to be my web page. Okay, so inside this, I'm going to create all the elements which I want. Okay, so now inside the section, you can maximize this section as how you want. Okay, you can maximize it as how you want. Now, assuming this is going to be my web page, what all I'm going to first create is I need a logo. So let's say this part is going to be the logo. So I'll just place a rectangle here. All right. This is going to be my logo. And then I need some navigations here, right? So I'll create some navigations like about me. Let's create a portfolio. So I'll type about me and then projects. And then again, we'll take another text and I'll write contact. Okay. So now I have 3 elements here. Now, if I have to align it, just click and drag. That's it. It will show you where you have to align it. It will show you whether you're aligning it in the same line or not. About projects and then the contact part. Okay. Now all these are in the same line with the same spacing. Yes. Now we have 3 things: navigation, and then what are we going to have? I'll again have a picture here, small picture here. And this side, we are going to have some content, something like welcome to my site. Welcome to my site. And again, we'll type Saumita Senthil Raj will be my name. Yes, and we'll just write an introductory content, something like senior technical consultant at Prompt Infotech. Okay, now you can click and drag wherever you want this to get placed. You can just click and drag it and it is going to click and drag. If I want to increase the size of this text, just click on this text and go here. You have the size. I'll increase the size to 30. Okay, 30 is too big. We'll type 25. Okay. And if okay. And then we'll click and drag. If you want to change the font, you have the font stuffs where you can just click on this and you have many fonts here. See here, you have fonts. You can change the fonts. And if you want to add color, you can add color. So everything that you're going to do, all these are design part, not the code part. But when a UI designer designs the prototype here and hands it over to the developer, that is exactly how a developer has to develop the part. So first step, designing part, is where you have to convince your client with 3 or 4 wireframes. You have now I've just created one. That's it. So this way you have to create at least 3 or 4 templates. You can put the image on the left side. You can take the content on the right side. You should show 3 or 4 options for them to choose. So for that, you can use this tool. Now here for this image, if you have any image in your system, you can just take that image and copy paste here. It will just align accordingly. We'll just paste some image if I have. Okay, I just have few pictures here. I'll just take this picture. I'll copy this. I'll click on this element and I'll just paste it here. So the image gets paste directly here. And if you want to crop this image, you want to align this image, you wanted to do all the alterations, you have options here in the right hand side. Okay, so this is one tool where you can create your designs. You can do it as how you want. Without coding, however you want your web page to look like, this is one tool where you can use. All right, so this is with the tool. This name of this tool is called Figma. So you can just directly go to this site and register, and you can start designing. All right, so this is for you to explore. There is nothing, there are so many features. So if I start teaching this, I need like 6 to 10 classes where I can keep going on and on about it. But if you have free time and if you're interested in designing, yes, this is one site where you can explore so many options. Okay, got it? Yes, so that's it for today. So I hope you will work with your assignment and upload it. Google form will be shared in your channel after the class. So upload your assignments and we'll see how it goes. We'll connect again tomorrow. Thank you guys.